Hi guys, I am Mama Bear to Many. I am mom to 14 children. 12 children are still at home, and it is right after supper time as I'm filming this, so you'll probably hear lots of commotion going on between dishes being done and kids having fun or doing whatever. I kind of bribed them with Paw Patrol movie, but well, the older kids aren't going to want to watch Paw Patrol, and I don't know. Anyway, they're trying to watch a movie. So, what I wanted to do is just kind of collaborate everything that we did as far as our beach vacation went, and I'm kind of just doing it like for ourselves and playing around with some different techniques. I haven't done voiceovers too often, but I wanted to try to put some pictures together and voice over what we were doing and see how that worked, because I'd like to try to use that technique more until like I get a mic and all that type of stuff together, so that you guys have hopefully better volume or whatever, like voice. Yeah, I am way overtired. Yeah, so you can hear me better without me shouting. Okay, so our trip. We actually went to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, and we stayed there, and I just moved I moved my laptop over here so it wouldn't look so messy behind me, and I forgot what I had over there, so I'll be back. I'm back. So I got my map. Now I can't see my map. Let's see. All right, let me see if I do like this, if I can see it. This is my map of Cape Cod, you know, that little thing that sticks out. And that's like the tip of the cape that comes around and goes down like this. So we obviously were driving in from this end and going up and around. So we stayed where the circle mark is here, right ahead of the meadow. So we actually could, there was this little path, and you'll see that in the pictures. There was this little path that you could like take down to the beach, but it was still like really forested because that's all part of the National Seashore. And so I looked up ahead of time. All beaches that are National Seashore are actually part of the National Parks program, which is if you have a fourth grader, homeschooled or public schooled, if you have a fourth grader, that's a child who's between the ages of 9 and 11, that you can get into parks across America for free. You just have to go online. You print off like a temporary pass, and then when you go, you bring that temporary pass. They ask the person, um, who is it, whatever, and they'll raise their hand and they'll sign the little card, and you get one vehicle full of people in for free. So we ended up getting a national park pass so we could do some of the places and stuff around. So I will now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to like voice over a bunch of pictures that I have and explain to you how things were. So if you want to go down to the Cape, then you'll know what we liked and disliked at each place and just kind of what we did. So we decided to stop at the Bourne Bridge, and this is the bridge that we went on to get over to the Cape. And the traffic was insane, like usual. So we took a little while, got over there, and then we got to the campground, which was Highland Campground, and we set up our tents and got all ready, and then decided that we would take a walk down to the ocean. And so that's what we did. We went down this little path that was half a mile long and got to head of the Meadow Beach. So at head of the Meadow Beach, they actually have like a mat down, so you can, it's really easy to walk on. It is so much easier than walking in that loose sand. And it was really a blessing to have that. So the kids were so excited to get there, and we took a family photo before we actually went down to the beach, and just to smell the salty air was awesome. So we got a bunch of pictures of just the kids like seeing this type of ocean for the first time. We live near the ocean, but it's really cold, and so they go in for short amount of time, but they had a good time that evening. And then we went back to the campground and just started, there's a little playground there. The kids played there, and we were just setting things up, feeding people, doing all the things that you do as a mom to 12 that needs to feed and get people ready for bed and all that fun stuff. So we spent the evening doing those types of things. And then we discussed about going to church the following morning. There was actually a church at the campground. So we decided that we would try out that church the next morning. And so we did. And it was actually really a blessing. It was a small church meeting together. But it was really, really nice to just meet with fellow believers. So they told us about a couple of different things, and I'll share that with you later. We decided to stop at some windmills on the way to the grocery store because I needed to pick up a couple things while we were there, including some ice. And there was two windmills. One was the Jonathan Edwards windmill, and another one was the Eastham windmill, both of which have been moved to different locations because of the way the Cape is. They just were too close to the ocean. A lot of the lighthouses have been moved as well. So this is Highland Lighthouse, and it's also called the Cape Cod Light, I believe that it is, and it's a really pretty site. They moved part of this back as well because it was falling off the cliff. And this right here is actually the lighthouse that's on the Cape Cod potato chip bag. If you've ever gotten those potato chips before, it's called the Nauset Light, and that was a heck of a time trying to get parking there. This is one of the Three Sisters lights, which is right up the street from the Nauset Light, and there's actually three of them. They all look the same. And then off to the beach we went. So we spent a few days at different beaches. We went to the head of the meadow, which is actually on the ocean side. And that was wonderful. That was right by us. So we spent quite a bit of time there. We also went to a couple other beaches. One is Wellfleet Beach, which is like the public town beach, which is called Mayo Beach. So if you're in the area and you don't have a fourth grader, that beach is completely free. And there's a playground right across the street. That is Bayside. It's about an hour from Truro. Well, not even an hour from Truro. It's about half an hour from Truro, actually. And so we went there a couple times because it was Bayside. All the kids had a great time. Yeah, so this is just us flying kites. One of the evenings, we just went to the head of the meadow, which is right up the street from us, and we decided that we would fly kites and let the kids do boomerangs. And you can see how there was barely no one on the beach at all. We were watching the seals. There was seals in the ocean. It was a really cool time, but they love flying the kites. It was a perfectly breezy night. Just gorgeous out. The sun was beautiful. It was just gorgeous. It really amazes me how many people do not see the benefit or go to the beaches in the evening times. It's usually so quiet, yet so beautiful. So yeah, we spent quite a bit of time there, and it was starting to get dark. So we decided, and we heard that it was supposed to rain, which it only sprinkled a little bit, and decided to head back. So the other places that we went to, we call it Macaroni Beach. It actually is Marconi Beach. And we did that the same day that we did the Three Sisters and the Nauset Lighthouse. And so that was a really nice beach. We kind of wanted to go. That's actually on the ocean side as well, but it has a lot of rocks in it. So the kids didn't like swimming too much in there because the rocks kept hitting their legs. And so it wasn't their favorite. Everyone had such a fun time with these fun sand creations. People were coming up and taking pictures, and they were just really blessed by the children, like just being kids, right? Like so many people at the beach, they're so worried about what they look like and, how great they look in their bathing suit or how things are. And our kids are just kids, and it blessed so many people. And I'm so thankful for that. So they were doing all these sculptures all over the beach, and they were having fun. So we went to the Marconi, and then the head of the meadow were both ocean side, and then Bayside would have been, we went to Cornhill. We went there after hours. So anytime it is after 3:00, you can get into a beach for free pretty much, because whenever the lifeguards go home, then they stop taking money for tickets and stuff, for parking and all that type of stuff. So if you want to get to a beach and you don't have a fourth grader, you can go after in the afternoon, and it's still so beautiful there. And you can go there. So at Cornhill, actually, you could see like the tip of the Cape, and you could see Pilgrim Monument, which you'll see at the end of this video. We ended up going to Pilgrim Monument. We weren't quite sure if we wanted to. I think that they say that Pilgrim Monument is just it's a whole different culture, right? So we weren't sure if we wanted to go there or not. But honestly, it was just a lot of tourists that were there. So we enjoyed our time in P-Town. So we went to Pilgrim Monument, but you can see it actually in one of these pictures. I'm not quite sure if it went by yet or not, but through Cornhill, they you can see the end of the Cape. So it's really kind of neat to be almost looking across the bay and seeing that. It's really kind of cool. And the kids enjoyed that as well. So one of the beaches that we did go to, the free beach, that Mayo Beach, we went a couple of times. The reason being is we went one time in the evening time on the way back from the grocery store, but we decided that we didn't want to go for too long just in case it wasn't free. So we stopped on the way back, but then we realized that it was free and that it was nice and whatever. So we ended up going at a low tide, and the kids found a ton of shells, and they were super excited about that because that was one thing that they wanted to do, was collect the shells. So the tide was going out, and they got to watch some people like in their little like skiffs or whatever, and they were clamming and all those types of things. That picture, this right here, is actually, they said that it's in P-Town. It is Race Point, and they said that that was supposed to be able to like be open. So we walked this whole long path to go see this like museum type thing, and it was closed. Yeah, so it was just really nice to go and get all the seashells for the kids. They really liked that. They also found some horseshoe crabs, as you probably saw in some of the pictures, and they thought that was the coolest thing. This was like such a cute picture. It said that the dunes were closed and there was seashells on the other side. So she was so disappointed. That's one of the horseshoe crabs there. Um, and so I loved the beaches when they had these path walkways. It made it so much easier. So much easier, especially when we were trying to bring so much. So each day she learned how to swim. It was so cute. She totally learned how to swim like on her own during this whole time. And it was neat to see her like come into herself. So each day that we went to the beach, we would bring this little tent that I had bought off Amazon, which worked out absolutely wonderfully. Another thing that I recommend is those low chairs, because you can just even have a child sitting in your lap and be sitting like right at the ocean side, so that they can sit in your lap, and that's one of the low chairs there, and they'll be able to get some of the ocean if they're a little nervous at the same time. So that kind of weaned some of my children who were a little nervous in. So those were, I don't want to say musts for us, but I love the tent because I actually had children who napped in the tent. The baby napped in the tent a couple times. And my 2-year-old, she laid down and she took a bottle in the tent, and I kind of just laid down next to her, and there was plenty of space. I believe it was like a 4x8 or something like that, but it was super easy to set up. I mean, literally like 5 minutes. And then you can put sand in the side if it's a little bit windy, and it was perfect. You can close the window things, you can shut them. A lot of people had different types of setups, but I really like this setup because I could literally like lay in there and nurse the baby and not feel like somebody's staring at me, as well as just like being sweaty and everything. So here's Pilgrim Monument. So we decided to go to Pilgrim Monument because lots of people had a sunburn. So we went to Pilgrim Monument. And this is at the beach, actually on the other side of it in P-Town. And then they have a museum as well, as part of Pilgrim Monument. So we bought a membership for 8 people, and then had to pay for 2 extra people. But that little girl, she walked all the way to the top of the monument. After we did the monument, there's a glass elevator that goes down to P-Town. So we did that, but the baby got the baby got held by Cheyenne, and then I was with the 2-year-old, and the faces of her We should do a whole video of the faces of her. She enjoyed it. She was glad once she got to the top, and was able to enjoy the view. But she really liked actually walking up it, and it burnt a little bit of energy. What do you think? Did you like climbing the tower? Do you remember the big tower? Yes, that was so much fun. And that's the view all the way up or all the way down. I can't actually tell. That's everyone at the top. I said, everyone squeeze in. And then we had some random man just stick his head in there. And then we had lunch actually right outside. Nobody was like outside, like having lunch or anything like that. And that was part of it as well. That was looking out into P Town. Yeah, so it was beautiful.